breaking news now on that nationwide outage for the Optus network. The Optus CEO, Kelly Bayer-Rosmarin, has just spoken on Melbourne's 3AW radio just moments ago. She's been defending the telco's handling of this situation.
Well, I'm not sure what you're referring to, because in my time as the CEO, which is 3.5 years, this is the first nationwide outage that I've been here for. So we're very sorry for our customers, but it is certainly not a regular occurrence. It's highly unusual. We will get to the bottom of it. And what's most important is that we're restoring our services as a priority.
So we are seeing millions of Optus customers right across the country being affected by this outage. The tech giant has also confirmed a bit earlier today that 000 calls can't be made from landlines at the moment. This is causing chaos right across Australia. Let's bring in live now technology journalist Chris Griffith. Chris, we're hearing from Optus that it's not a cyber attack. So what is it?
Well, this is another great stuff up, if you like, by Optus. We had last year in September, we had the cyber attacks, and now we've had this. I mean, this is kind of pervaded everything. You've got not just phone users, you've got mobile internet, landlines. With mobile internet, you're dealing with banks, retail outlets, other providers, a whole range. The Melbourne train service, all of these things have been down. I think, too, we've seen poor communication from Optus, because this event started like 4 a.m. this morning. On downdetected.com, there was already 4,000 complaints at that time, and 7 hours later, only now are we getting some idea of what's happened. To me, it seems like it would be in the core network. I'm not an engineer, of course, but because it's affecting all of these different sectors of Optus's communications, it sounds like it's something at the heart of the network.
Absolutely, and this will be disastrous for Optus. You referred to that cyber attack a while back. It sounds like the company really hasn't learned when it comes to these crisis communications. We heard the CEO defending the communication it's having with its customers, but in terms of the CEO making a couple of phone calls into a Sydney and a Melbourne radio station, that's not really addressing customers right across the country who are really struggling with this today.
Absolutely. I saw the reports of people on the train stations in Melbourne absolutely puzzled because their whole, their commuting during peak hour was down. We've got hospitals involved in this. The whole northern side of Melbourne hospital network was impacted. No 000 calls on landlines. We knew about that pretty late in the piece. But we're dealing not just with inconvenience, we're dealing with essential services. And so Optus will take a big hit in terms of its reputation to be able to, particularly in the business services area where it's providing, absolutely essential communications around lives and the economy.
So what does it tell us, the fact that this is everywhere across the country and not just in specific geographic locations? Because when we do see these outages, it's usually in a small area and they get things back on track pretty quickly. This is pretty deep, obviously, in the network, as you were pointing out. Do we know if there were any upgrades going on, any equipment being replaced, anything happening behind the scenes at Optus that could have sparked this?
Well, that's a really good question. We don't know this, but if there's any suggestion of negligence or insufficient maintenance or errors, then they could be facing further legal action, because an awful lot of businesses and services will have faced, economic disadvantage. But I'd like to just add one quick thing here. It's also a wake-up call for businesses to think about resilience. That is, having a plan B, like another network provider or another telco, that they have maybe a Telstra emergency account that they can switch to in these cases. Like even retail outlets couldn't serve people, or they could serve people coffee. People couldn't pay for it because their networks were down. So it's important that businesses think about having an alternative backup plan when this happens. And these days we're going to see options like LEO satellite providers, SpaceX, and that providing these kind of services to help.
Chris, just hold tight. We've got another grab here in from the Optus CEO. She's just spoken on the Sydney radio station 2GB. She's talking about a pathway back in terms of restoring the network. Let's just hear what she's had to say.
The good news is that we have a path to restoring the whole network, and so we're bringing it up progressively as we speak.
So it is up and running in some places?
For all our customers. Yeah, and we'll be working through getting it up and running everywhere as soon as we can.
And how long are we expecting? Give us some sort of time frame to look toward.
Look, we're working through it progressively, so we're going as fast as we possibly can.
Okay, well, that's starting to sound a little bit more positive, isn't it, that services are being restored in some parts, but no timeline there in terms of when everyone across the country is going to be back online.
Absolutely. Of course, knowing exactly the time frame depends on what the cause was, and that will determine how fast they can bring the network up. But just like when computer systems go down and that they've got to bring equipment back online, and if it's in the core of the network, that could be quite a convoluted process. But we don't know, and hopefully, particularly for commuters, it's going to be fairly quick so that they know what to do, whether to wait for the train or go home some other way.
Chris Griffith, really appreciate your analysis. Thank you so much for joining us.